Alright, this video is a lesson on how to use systems of equations to solve word problems or real-world application sorts of problems. Alright, today we're going to look at two different types of problems, and although each question will be a little bit different, of course, we can kind of do the same thing each time we do one of these problems. So we'll try to do a step-by-step as best we can. Okay, the first kind of question is what are called breaking even questions. If you're running a business, the vocabulary breaking even means that your income is equal to your expenses. So you are taking in as much money as you are spending. And the idea is you're not gaining or losing money. You are making a profit of $0 in a sense. And as a business owner, it's important to know how much of a product you need to sell, or how much business you need to do on a given day, so that you're not losing money at the very least, right? A lot of businesses don't make profit for quite a while, but at least you don't want to be losing money if you can avoid it. So this is a simple calculation that we're going to do, but it is one that someday you could find yourself doing this sort of calculation. All right, so here's an example. I would recommend you write these things down, as again, each question that involves breaking even is basically going to be the same process, just different words that we're going to read. Okay, so we have some food cart and they're selling tacos, and let's just say that's all they sell. Right, and they sell each taco for $2.25. There's a cost for the ingredients, right? It costs 75 cents for the the meat and the tortilla and everything. And then there's a daily expense of $300 to run the cart. So that's things like hiring the employees, paying for any electricity or heating or anything like that. Right, that's a daily sort of cost. So the question is, how many tacos do they have to sell every day to break even? All right, so the first thing we're always going to do, and this goes for any word problem we do in this class, is we're going to assign our variables. So we will use x and y. You could really use any variables you want, but I'll always use x and y. And for these, I'm just going to tell you, it's easiest. Let x be the amount of product that you're selling. So in this case, right, we're dealing with tacos. So not just tacos, but number of tacos sold. And then y is how much money you have made. So we'll say y is the number of dollars. And it's either money that you've made or money that you've spent. Okay, it can be either. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make two equations, one of them an expense equation and one of them an income equation. So we'll start with the income because that's easier. And I'd like you to label them if you can, just so you remember which one is which. So the amount of money that we make is going to be equal to, right, $2.25 for every taco. So we could write this, right? If x is the number of tacos we sell, then multiply that by $2.25, and that is how much money you make. And that's it. Okay, income tends to be the easier one. Expense, right, is how much you're spending. And again, it will be some amount of dollars, right, is equal to, well, let's see. Each taco that we make is going to cost us 75 cents, right, for all the ingredients that make it. So we can say 0.75 times x, right? X is, again, number of tacos. But then we need to add on $300, just a flat $300. Okay, we're not going to multiply this by x. We don't want to do that. That would mean we're paying $300 for every taco we make, right? That would be crazy. So this is just a flat fee. We have to pay that every day for, again, whatever overhead sorts of costs. And now we have two equations. Two equations, two variables. That's a system. And at this point, we can use any of the techniques we know. Graphing would work, or substitution or elimination. And what I'm going to show you is substitution is probably going to be the easiest way to do this one. Okay, so now that we have our two equations, this is the same question. I've just written the equations again. All right, to break even means we want to set these equal, right? We want income and expenses to be the same. So what we can do, right, y is equal to 2.25x. Well, there's a y in the other equation, so we can substitute that in. Okay, you've done the substitution method before. This is just already, one of the variables is already by itself for you, so it's really easy to do substitution. Okay, so now we get this. And we've gone from an equation with 2 variables down to an equation with just 1, and we know we're going to be able to solve that. Okay, so go ahead. Solve that equation. Okay, 0.75, 0.75. Okay, use a calculator as needed, but this is going to be 1.5. All right, and then divide both sides. So you will get some decimals and things like that, so you'll definitely want to have a calculator when you're doing these. All right, 300 divided by 1.5 is 200. And you should put a unit, right? If x is your variable, that means that's 200 tacos that we need to sell on a given day. All right, we also want to go back and plug it in just to make sure that everything is checking out. Okay, so we solved our new equation. We just got x is 200 tacos. Okay, now we're going to plug that back in to either equation, but it's a little bit easier if you just plug it into income. Remember, income was the easier equation because initially we had this. So go ahead, plug that in there, 2.25 times 200. And I'm just going to multiply that out. 1 second. Okay, I get $450. You can either write dollars if you want, or you can just put a dollar sign. Okay, so now we want to check, right? This means if we sell 200 tacos, we are going to make $450. Well, if we're going to break even, that means we also need to be spending $450. So let's plug in there. Again, it was 0.75x plus 300. Let's go ahead and plug that in. And just give me a minute to punch that in my calculator to be sure. And yeah, that's going to work out. Okay, if you do this, you end up getting 150 plus 300 equals 450, right? And so what happened, again, is you made the same amount that you spent. AKA, you broke even. And so you know you've got the right answer. And that's it. Okay, so once you've set up the equations, it's no more difficult than solving a system like you've been doing for the past few weeks. But summarizing that step by step one more time. Okay, first thing you want to do is assign your variables. And for this sort of a question, okay, when it's break even, it's best let y be dollars and x be the product you're selling. So it was tacos last time. The next one that you're going to do here is newsletters. All right, whatever it is you're selling, just let it be the amount of that you've sold. And whoops, I misnumbered. Should be step 2. Create an income equation and an expense equation. Okay, you're always going to have 2 of those. Then, just like we did, substitute one into the other, and then solve. Right, whatever you end up getting. Should usually find x, plug that back into one of the equations, it doesn't matter which one, to find y, and then just make sure you check with the other one. Okay, so if you use income here, then use expenses here, or vice versa. Just don't keep plugging into the same equation. Okay, that doesn't check your answer correctly. All right, so if you feel like you understand this, why don't you try this one? Okay, a club publishes a newsletter. The expenses are 90 cents for printing and all the postage and all that for each copy, plus a $600 fee. Okay, and just to be clear, this is a one-time fee. Okay, so you're not paying that per newsletter. You're selling each newsletter for $1.50, and you want to find out how much do you need to sell in order to break even. If you feel like you understand, you might want to pause the video now and try this yourself. Otherwise, I will walk you through how to do this one. Okay, so you are first going to assign variables. X is, you can just say newsletters, it's okay to write that, but just understand what you really mean is the amount of newsletters you're selling, and Y is dollars. Okay, so I'm going to make a income equation. and an expense equation. Income is just $1.50. Okay, so that always is usually the easier one. $1.50 per copy. And then expenses, well, let's see, I'm spending 90 cents per newsletter, so that I have to put 0.9 times X plus 600 no matter what. Okay, so now I have my two equations. I want to set them equal to each other. And so again, I'm really just doing substitution when I do this. Right, they're both equal to y, so I can write 1.5x equals 0.9 plus 600. And then we solve. So, okay, so we get 0.6. And then we divide. And just doing that, I believe we get 1,000, but let me just double check. We do get 1,000. So 1,000 what? 1,000 newsletters we need to sell. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and plug that back in. I'll put it in here because that's the easiest one. 1.5. Okay, and that's easy. That's just going to come out to 1,500. And so we know now y should equal 1,500. So let's just check the other equation. Okay, and sure enough, that's going to give me 900 plus 600, which I know is going to be 1,500. Okay, so again, I have made as much money as I am spending. And so what that tells a business owner, this club is, okay, so we need to sell 1,001 newsletters before we start turning a profit. And so you make decisions based off that. Okay, maybe we need to up the price, or maybe we need to find a way to cut costs, or right, if you think it's going to be a problem to sell over 1,000, then you need to adjust things. And that is a break-even question. Okay, when you try the assignment, there will be one question like this. You need to show all of that work, please. I know that some of you will find some shortcuts, and this is great. You might notice like, hey, the difference between this and this is 60. So I know I just need to divide the cost by 60 cents. And so what you're doing is you're essentially doing all of this work just in your head. And that's fantastic. Unfortunately, I don't know what you're doing. I need to see you writing things. And the other thing is we're not just doing these word problems for the sake of doing these word problems. Right? We're trying to get you a system, a way of logically thinking about these that will allow you to do other questions when you get there. And so, yeah, on a quiz or a test, I need to see all these steps to get full credit. It's not always just about getting the final answer. All right, the second type of question we'll look at today are what I'm going to call total amount sorts of problems. Usually what happens in these is you know two different products and you know how much they're worth or how much they cost. You also know how many things you want to buy or how many things were bought. Then what you do is you work backwards to find out how much of the individual products were bought or that you could buy or were sold. And these, the wording will change a little bit and the situation will change a little bit, but the setup is very similar for many of these. Okay, so here's an example. You'd like to buy some plates of cookies, okay, 10 to be exact. And, there are different prices. Okay, so chocolate chip cookies cost this and sugar cookies cost this, but you have a budget, right? You can only afford $100. So how many of each type could you buy? If you're planning for a party or something like that, you're trying to figure out what could I do? How could I maximize my budget here? First thing you want to do is assign your variables. And when you're doing this, what you usually do is one variable for each product. So in this case, the products are cookies. Okay, so I'm going to say chocolate chip for this one. And we'll let y be sugar cookies. It doesn't matter if you let x be sugar cookies and y. It doesn't matter. Just make sure you label which one is which so you don't forget. Okay, once we've assigned our variables, we're always going to make two equations. So if you haven't made two equations yet, you haven't done everything. So let's see, I did x's chocolate chip. I'm just gonna put this over here so I don't forget. Okay, let's see, I can buy 10 plates of cookies. Well, so that means, right, if X is really not just chocolate, but plates of chocolate, and Y is plates of sugar, well, that means, right, I can only buy 10 altogether, so that's an easy equation, right? X plus Y equals 10, right? In other words, all the plates of chocolate chip cookies and all the plates of sugar cookies, when I put them together, right, X plus Y, that has to be 10. Okay, what I also know, right, is chocolate costs $7 per plate. Okay, so 7x, right, 7 times the number of plates of chocolate chip cookies, and sugar cookies, same thing, $12 per plate. Well, that can't go above 100. Right? I can only, putting all that money together, I can only afford to spend $100. So the amount equation is usually just going to be X plus Y, and then you're going to have some cost equation where you're multiplying the plates or whatever it is by the cost per object. Right, now we need to solve. You could do this by substitution. That would be one way to do it, would be to get Y by itself. And if you want to do it that way, go ahead. For me, though, I think this is easier with elimination, because what I can notice is, hey, if I multiply the top by -7, that's going to make the x's cancel out. Okay, so usually where break even was easier with elimination, these problems are going to tend to be a little bit easier with elimination. Now I'm going to add those together. These are going to cancel. This will give me 5y, right? -7 plus 12. And this will give me 30. And hey, that's going to work out nice. Okay, divide both sides by 5. And I get y equals 6. So what do I know right now? 6 plates of sugar cookies. So now I just need to go back and figure out how many plates of chocolate chip. I could plug into either equation, but man, let's go back to this first one because that's real easy, right? X plus Y equals 10. Well, now I know Y equals 6. So without even doing any work, I know X is going to be 4. But we need to check. So always, 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 right, whichever equation you use to find the variable, now go use the other one just to make sure we did it right. Okay, and that should equal 100 if we did everything right. 28 plus 72. Yep, that's going to work out. Okay, so we know we've done it correctly. So the answer is, and you can just label your variables, 4 plates of chocolate chip and 6 plates of sugar cookies. And we've maximized, we've spent all the money that we had, and we got as many plates as we needed. So the process is basically the same. All that's going to change is instead of cookies, it'll be, burgers and fries and things like that. Or child ticket, adult ticket. That's another common one. All right, so if you feel like you understand it, you could try this one yourself. And if not, I will walk you through it. So first thing I'm going to do is assign my variables. Okay, so we're looking at this question. You're selling tickets, you have student tickets and general admission tickets, right? So if you've ever gone to lately you can't really go to games, but if you ever do go to a high school basketball game, they charge students less to get in usually, right? So student tickets, we'll just say students, and general. And you can be brief here, okay? This is just to help you remember which is which. You don't have to write full sentences or anything. Just so you remember, oh, which one was student tickets? Oh yeah, that's X. All right, so now we need to make our equation. You sell 300 tickets, okay? This is like last time we wanted 10 plates of cookies. So we don't care about the cost, we just care about how many we have sold. All the student tickets plus all the general admission tickets needs to add up to 350. Okay, we also collect this amount of money. Now, what you want to do is put all the dollars together, right? So $3, $5, and $14.50. So 3 times X plus 5 times Y equals $14.50. And now we have our two equations. Again, if you want to use substitution, go for it. I'm always going to do elimination for these. Okay, so I'm going to multiply the top. Now the easiest thing to do would just be -3 because that's going to get the x's to go away. And so that's going to give me -3 x minus 3y is, hold on one sec. Arithmetic is not my thing. Hold on. -1050. Okay, and then we don't change the bottom one. And now we just want to add those together. Okay, the x's cancel. We get 2y, and we get 400 when we add those. Please use a calculator as much as you need for these. Okay, divide, and we get 200, which, going back to this equation, remember, go back to before you multiplied, we can see x is going to equal 150, right, without doing much work. So now you just want to check, right? So go back to the other equation now, 3 times 150 plus 5 times 200. That should equal 1450 if we've done everything right. 450 plus 1000, that's going to check out. Okay, so we know we're good. And so the final answer is you sold 150 student tickets and 200 general admission. And that's it. If you can understand these 4 questions we did, then you understand today's lesson. All right, and so just to show me that you do understand, if you could please try on Canvas systems application practice. It is only 2 questions. Okay, there's one break-even question and then one total amount sort of question. And if you could turn that in sometime before the start of class on Wednesday so I can see how you're doing with this, that'd be great. Let me know if you have any questions. Shoot me an email anytime. Have a great day.